Alright guys, I'm on the way home listening to NPR radio, and I heard some stuff and I just had to speak on it because it's just how I'm feeling right now. Alright, Obama's trying to work on this thing for immigrants, to look out for immigrants overall, and I can understand that and respect that. My parents are not necessarily immigrants per se, because technically both their bloodlines are Arawak Indian, which is actually native to America, but we're also black. Excuse me. So technically, because I'm only second generation American, I am second generation Arawak. Technically, if we went through all those paperworks and all that other stuff that this world does, technically the southeast part of America, Venezuela, Honduras, all the West Indies is kind of nationally ours. But anyway, what strikes me is that they're upset with Obama for doing this and saying that this is a huge power grab. Nancy Pelosi says every single president has done this. They've picked one thing to support and they've picked one thing to deal with. Okay, great. Now, here's my issue. In the United States of America, the taxes were African Americans who are dominantly poor, who are dominantly lower class, have to pay taxes. Things paid that African Americans earned and should have received as far as reparations were not paid for. This is definitely true. This has gone on for centuries of a debate and discussion. And let's clarify this. America has won more wars than anyone else, and America pays more reparations out to other countries than anyone else. Why is it that black people who, let's get this straight, are considered ignorant, an angry race who kills each other, selfish and blah blah blah, 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 blah. I can go through all the whole bull that I hear all the time, because it's obvious that these people don't understand that we went through what we went through, and it's still deserving onto us. But when Hitler did what he did and all the things happened to the people claiming to be Jews, everybody had to pay for it, and those people are still getting what they're getting today. There's no question about it. But for a black man to be in office and for him to be at the forefront height of gay rights, notably when he said he was against it and his vice president said he was for it, he was stuck in a position where he had to support it. Okay, I will agree with that. But his greatest opportunities to be able to help push forth rights for his people has not happened. I don't know if he's afraid of assassination. He don't think that it's that serious. If the immigration thing is a push that he's being pushed through because they're trying to keep the support of the Hispanics, or I don't know if he actually doesn't care about it or what, but I mean, this is your opportunity to make change for your people. Your health insurance plan is floundering. You didn't get everything that you needed on it, which actually, in wholehearted truth, you needed all those things that you put out on there to make it work for us as a whole.
Turn right after
we still
250 feet.
have to, after all these policies that you try to come out with, have to deal with things that we didn't really want to deal with in the first place. But since the Republicans got into office and outnumber the Democrats, we still got to deal with it. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that black people who told me to vote, which was my actual first time ever voting, and actually I don't believe in the voting process, but I did it to make sure, because there's so many people who are actually enthused this time, that
Turn left
if
after
in
400
fact
feet.
it did happen, I can't lie. I didn't want to be in the onslaught of the people
turn
being
next
upset
left.
with this thing not happening. So I did vote. Now, my issue is that when I went back out to vote for runoff, because I know what a runoff is and why it has to happen and why you need to be out there, the people who were harping about me going out to support a black man trying to enter office, which I still don't agree with him overall, is that I talked to them and I said, hey, I'm going out to go do the runoff vote. Oh, that's all right. Obama got it and that's all I care. All your thought process is that we made it because a black man was in office. Your ignorant behinds didn't even take the time to do much research on what it takes for a policy for anybody to go through. And it still is not to say that that dude wasn't going to get into office anyway, because they got their agendas, man, and they know what to do, and they do it and flaunt it right in front of you, because this is the world we're talking about. This is not the kingdom of heaven. This is the kingdom of hell, like straight up. We are in the world and we're not of the world, but we fight against principalities and rulers in dark places. These are the scriptures that you're reading, people. I don't know what's up with the Ruach HaKodesh if you can't hear the Holy Spirit or what, but these are red flags about these people, man. The little that you can do, you're not doing, and then you're trying to impress and push people into doing things that you ain't gonna do yourself. This is reminiscent of why Paul spoke about circumcision in the first place. It's not that circumcision is against the law. It's that you're not following the law yourself. How are you going to tell anybody to do the law? James said, again, if you got time to argue about the law, to debate the law, you ain't doing the law. You ain't obeying the law. When the Father was talking about his new moon Sabbaths and his feasts and stuff like that, he wasn't saying not to do them. He wasn't saying he was against them. He's saying, yo, if you're going to do something, do it right. You know? This is exactly why they push the proponent to deliberate sin being unforgivable in the Gospels, in the letters. Because the whole entire fact of the matter is that before the Messiah came, everybody was doing things deliberately. They ain't care. They knew it was wrong, and they still did it. They know it's against the law, and the Bible says, and it's written, they'll develop new ways to sin. So they're going to do something against the rules and regulations just because. You know what I'm saying? You know the scriptures. Stop pretending you don't. And if you don't know the scriptures and you claiming to be something, then shame on you, because you need to know the truth. Anywho, your boy, the person that you voted for, the person you was crying and whining about, just picked everybody else except for you to support. He supported a class of people. He supported a group on the basis of immigration. He supported certain businesses in the thought process that'll bring more taxes, better jobs into the country. He's created policies for taxes in the thought process that he was going to be able to deal with the rich and hit them where they hurt so that we can divide the whole entire thing. But so far, every single one of those laws that he created is hurting you, not them. It's hurting you. And you don't know enough to research it. It's just like those medical devices that they added in those laws. Research it. Because they also said they could put GPS tracking devices in there. Why the heck you need that? Somebody is going to walk up to your grandma and cut it out her heart and use it or something? I mean, you tell me. Let me know what's up. Anyway, this dude supported everything except for his own people. And technically, when you think about it, to be more smug about it, the man's father is from Africa and his mom is Caucasian. Not that it's a bad thing, because I would love my friends who are Caucasian, and I have Caucasian in my DNA as well, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you do as well. And I deal with some awesome people that actually are more on the forefront for black rights than actually black people are. So let's get that out there. But it's technically not his people And while his wife may be from here and his daughters may be from here, so you should see as much more desire to understand the plight that these people face, kind of like children who are brought up where their mothers and fathers marry black people, and they're more intertwined and more intertuned with what goes on with the demographics of a black person in some cases, shapes, or form, are more remorseful or more sensible to them, because even though they physically might not be of those people, they that black man or that black woman that was married into, that's all they know, and they only know the love and the care and the caress of that person from being a child of them. So I mean, even some of my teachers growing up, Italian, told me of the history of people, try to train me up to try to have me to have more confidence in my race. And I will tell you, until recently, my whole entire thought process with us was that we don't really have the research to have the knowledge and the background of what's going on around us. And again, if you don't give a darn about the kids around you, then wholeheartedly, honestly, you're a waste of breath, because you can't complain about what a police officer does or what somebody else's kid does when you don't realize, again, that is your responsibility to assist in training up that child. You ever heard the term, it takes a village, people? But again, Obama's not doing the things that he needs to do to support you. You guys voted him in. And people got the nerve to tell me that the black vote didn't matter, when yes, that was the highest term that any black people have voted. Gay people of the gay rights movement, they voted too. People tired of the Bush regimes, they voted too. People who didn't want what is his name, McCain in office, they voted too. People who didn't want Miss Alaska out there to be in office, they voted too. Yeah, so it's a collective of grand total of why he's in office. However, if a Jewish person goes into any kind of office, the first thing that happens is that Jewish people go into his office, they set up lots of meetings and appointments, and they make their requests. Same thing with other religions, just to show solidarity and care. But you notice, and this is the reason why Hebrew Israelites truly believe that black Americans are the true Israel, is this: when it comes to trying to grow us or change things for us, for some reason, overall, the grand scope of things, doors close. But get this, you close the doors as well, especially when you don't understand the huge factors that are necessary in order for you to have what you need to have in this world. We as a people need to change our minds and thought processes and try to get down to the nitty gritty. Your boy, which, I mean, true honestly, he's helping a lot of people that might be considered my people because of the fact that they're immigrants, and because of the fact that they could be West Indian, or they could be people who came from other countries and use Mexico as a backdoor to come back into here. I mean, he could be helping construe that because my family's immigrants, I'm happy and excited and for this, which I am. My father was a Vietnam vet. That's how he was able to stay in this country, because he had to actually kill somebody or to defend this country's rights that may or may not have been right, in all honestly speaking. My mother actually came here as a child a little bit after all the automotive companies were going into her country, and her country was like one of the only places at the time that you can get bauxite, which was necessary for aluminum foil, for all of our appliances, for our vehicles, and for our utensils and all that other stuff. Well, she was coming in on the back end of the fact of the matter that they needed her country. When they found 3 or 4 other countries just like it, they abandoned her country, and now her country's money to our money is almost 100 to 200 times less. It's hard for her people to get into our country, and other countries and the IMF is blocking her food. So where you used to see a lot of her food staples and stuff being in this country, you don't see it. And they got so many rules against it. You'll see more food coming in from Colombia and other places who give America cocaine to make their type 3 narcotic medications and all that other stuff. So she came in on that end. She's paid taxes since she was 19 years old. She's worked 2-3 jobs to support, to make sure that things could go right, not only for us, but for her brothers and sisters to be able to come into America. So I put that out there straightforward. And she's followed everything fine. She was never an illegal alien. She was a legal alien. She had a green card and everything. And her time to be able to vote was after passing the test required to be in this country, was literally when Obama was ready to be in office. So we know who she voted for. We know who my dad voted for and everybody else. My dad didn't even believe in Democrats or what their policies was. My dad was a believer in the Green Party. You know what I'm saying? Ralph Nader and them dudes, you know, they got real good policies, but nobody's ever gonna vote for them dudes, because honestly, this country ain't about taking care of their own and each other. This country is about overall giving the rich what they want, and any group of people willing to sell each other out on the other end of the scope, the Democrats, then they're gonna do it too. You don't understand politics. That's why you keep thinking that politics works versus lobbying, versus paying and doing research and suing their butts off until they give you what you need as a group. Your boy is playing you. When Darren Wilson or Derek Wilson or whatever that loser is out there who shot Michael, in Missouri, and you guys was out there doing what you was doing, the first thing he said was, that ain't gonna fix the problem. Let's get this straight, people. What you did was wrong, but I understand why you did it. And, excuse me, I understand the psychosis of why you did it. First off, the media already had their cameras set up and ready, waiting for you guys to do what you was doing. The man who even planned this, he didn't want the verdict read till nighttime, all right? This dude bold-faced lied, and he said he had enough time to think about whether or not what he was gonna do when he shot the boy was legal, that he was afraid in his life, that he was a big dude. And no stuff goes down like that. There's no way you can have that much thought like that ever. But but they did that. All right, they already called the peacekeepers out there. They called the National Guard out there. So let's get that right. And then they didn't put the National Guard into key places. 500 extra beings in one city, and you couldn't surround a city with 500 people and put them in from the center of where you know it's about to be on and popping. You couldn't put 10 of them in one place with extra police officers with the tear gas and smoke bombs that they needed to be able to keep the peace. Get out of here. You're full of crap. I understand that they set you guys up. That's true. I won't take it from you guys on that. I understand that when you're angry, all the things that you can think of is to lash out. And I also understand hive mentality. I also understand what it means to have a mob mentality. So there's a sociological, there's an economical, there is a psychological approach to this that was sorely missed. And most importantly, history has shown from the 60s on, from the 1600s on, that we were not respected. We were treated like cattle. They had us having sex with our mommies and our daddies, committing incest to make a greater stock, a better cattle, if you will, to do their work. And then they fought to the death to keep you, where one man had 50 to 100 plus slaves. And guess what? When he couldn't have his way, they killed you off. And when that didn't work, eugenics came into the mix. Miss Margaret Sanger and Winston Churchill and Charles, what's his name? Charles Dickens, and the guy who wrote 150,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and all these dudes, historically, huge eugenicists, having sex with slaves and having sex with criminal women, which they think is prostitutes or whatever, whatnot, to make a better and stronger Caucasian race, only to be proven down by Sir Francis Galton that those people will still be black. So they started killing them off. Margaret Sanger went to the churches and pushed the thought process of safe sex and sexual education, only to put the abortion clinics in black areas where you guys were probably, what, 200 to 1 or 200 to 2 on the mark as far as slave masters go. And yes, slavery was all over the US, not just the South. You guys was killed off, man, and you had to run and you ended up dying. You got sick of diseases. They poisoned you and they lowered your numbers. That's historical. So it's a historical truth that these people have never been for us. And when W.E. Du Bois was trying to go to African nations that were going through all the tribal feuds to try to unite them, I believe they killed W.E.B. Du Bois. I don't believe this man died of no old age or no sickness when he went to Ghana. I believe that they systematically did what they needed to do to research and kill him. Yes, I believe that. And if you think I'm playing, why don't you go ahead and research 1960 in Wikipedia and see all the atrocities that happened and all the list of distractions that happened and all the movements that occurred, that were allowed, that were accepted during the distraction of the African American civil rights movement that was hijacked by almost everyone else. You research that and you see how many people got their results, and we still fighting for the same things over and over again. Let's be real, people. They are not for you. And as time goes on, it's no longer going to be about color only. It's going to be about who's got it. And actually, that's what it is today. Unfortunately, because the amount of things that happen that are barbaric and carnal within the black neighborhoods, and the barbaric and cardinal things that police do to black Americans for their lack of education in human services and lack of education in psychology, for the fact of the matter is that we actually have to pay for education in the United States of America, and we should be writing off and not taxing and not showing any kind of debt when it comes to the education of police, nurses, teachers, sociologists, psychologists, when we should have not be showing any debt to the re-education, to the continual health and welfare and well-being of these people. We out there putting a number on it and creating debt. And all these people in the World Bank who's investing in this country, that's how they work with things. They work on the debt. And guess what? Until we do something about it, until we're willing to make that change necessary so that our people can get out the cracks, whether it's from a believing standpoint, which is a colorless thing, or at the least, if your weak mind can't understand that everybody is a part of the kingdom of God, if you can't understand that from a color aspect, being able to take care of anyone and everyone that's related to you on a color baseline, then dude, you ain't gonna get nowhere. Obama ain't for you, man. Obama is a politician. His thought process is to reach the younger minds before he even deals with anything of the future. You know what I'm saying? It's a pyramid scheme from bottom to the top. Everything's a pyramid scheme when you think about it, because there has to be a certain goal in mind and set when you're trying to get anything done. There has to be a marketing plan for it to be done. That's why they have brainwashing marketing now. They have literal books on how to teach you how to get what you want to get out of people through marketing. The thing is that people, is that You gotta have that mindset. Your elderly are your living encyclopedias. So they're gonna be the ones to be able to tell you things that the history books ain't gonna tell you. They're the ones that, well, meanwhile, you don't understand why conspiracy theorists talk about the things that they talk about. They're going to be the living Bible to what happened. And most conspiracy theorists are taught what actually happened by their forefathers. So, if you don't understand that there is a top-down model and a down-up model towards what you need to do for your people, then you're going to continue being shafted. Because guess what? Until you realize that you are the change that your people need, that you are the reason why things don't occur for your people, until you realize that you need to do what you need to do, not going to Al Sharpton and to Jesse Jackson and to the Black Caucus and to the million men, or the 400 black men or 1,000 black men or whatever or whatnot, until you realize it takes you guys sitting on a table and going within your settlements, which means your cities, then your states, or cities, counties, towns, regions, states, then guess what? Ain't nothing gonna go well for you. Hear me, hear me, hear me, hear me. In order for this process to change for us, we need to come up with a model. And some of us are going to have to be willing to sacrifice more. At this point in time, I'm trying to get some things going so I can open up a business. And even while that business is going, I'm trying to go back to school so that I can get my education in another area. Excuse me. So that when I close the business down at nights, I can be able to design things to be able to bring in more income, just so that I can go out and look for brothers and sisters of the word and black people. Because I now, where I just was saying, as long as you're a believer, that's all that matters to me, I'm realizing that our people are shafted on a regular basis. I'm trying to look for ways that out of my pocket, out of my being, not just claiming to believe something and asking for grant money, and grant money's yours, grant money's this. There's not always a chance that I'll get that grant money, but I know if the money comes out of my pocket, I can do it freely, and I'll be satisfied that it meets the requirements that is written inside the laws of Moses. I can be satisfied that it meets the requirements of the gospel, and I can be satisfied that even though I never will get rich, to be able to help one of my brothers or sisters, or two of my brothers and sisters, obviously I believe I can do way better than that and way more, then that's enough for me to be able to die, even if I don't do anything else right and I am judged guilty in my heart of hearts, to see us come out of the things that we need to come out of, and for us to walk the way that we need to walk uprightly, is going to be what is necessary to make change in the minds of our children, because nobody else is going to do it. All the crap talking that Bush and all these Republicans and Democrats be talking about, look how many PS schools in New York have been closed on account of no money. Look how many kids lose out on the lack of education. Look how many teachers just don't care no more. And it's easy to attack a teacher, but you're less likely to know what they go through on a daily basis because they're not you. And as far as you're concerned, your kid is there, they just need to handle it. Nah, bruh. Nah, sis. That's not how it goes. Not from a scriptural standpoint, not from ecclesiastical standpoint, not from a psychological, a sociological, philosophical standpoint. At no point in time is it just left up to them to do your work. Stop trying to go to sleep early. Sit your butt down at the table and train your kids. You don't want to do it right? Then stop spreading your legs. Stop spreading legs. How about you do this right? How about we get this on? How about we stop complaining about what's going on and realize that we are the problem? We could fix this if we're willing to take the steps. Because obviously in the process of Obama doing what he's doing for immigration, who was coming for the black man? and said that black people should not have to do this any longer? Nobody. So who's going to have to come up for the black people and say that black people are going to do things or get things? It's going to be you people. You. Love you. I wish that you have all the best that Yah has to offer. And someday when we truly abide in the spirit of truth, then we'll see the error of our ways, and we'll know that we're worth more than this. But it's only through doing that your self-worth is revealed. It's only through a life lived that your self-worth is relived. Lawyer up, people. Invest in black businesses or spiritual kingdom-only businesses. But stop spreading your money thin. Stop giving it to people that don't have God in heart. And also, it's written that my people shall be known by my fruit. And what was Jesus always doing? And how was Jesus always doing it? And why was Jesus always doing it? The revelation of who we are is endowed by the people that came before us. They went out and got the money. They went out and had jobs. And Jesus said, I never had a place to live, never had a place to sleep. And this is coming from a standpoint that he's king. He's king. And he could have had what he wanted, but he didn't, because of the fact that he could only do what God said to do. That was the pact of the prophet, and that's also written down in Daniel about the time that how long the kingdom would be on the streets and what they would have to do while they're on the streets. They had to spread that word. They had to spread that understanding. And now that we got the understanding, when are we going to do it? I'm not going to settle for this church mentality that's out there, because there's too much debt in the church. There's too many people in church in debt. There's too many kids that lack from their parents, and we're doing things out of line. We're just totally off the wall. I cannot believe that with all the abilities and skill sets that happened in the kingdom of heaven back then, that today we can say we are the kingdom and don't do half of the things they do. I think that that's a total travesty, and I want to see that changed. We need our own schools. We need our own businesses. We need our own land. We need our own ability to procure food and cattle, to be able to produce our own textiles, to be able to educate our own people. And this is going beyond the color issue, but going into believing issues. And the key point about a believer is this: if you're going to do unto others as you have them do unto you, it's not always about whether or not a person believes that Yahushua is their Lord and Savior. It's not always about whether or not a person keeps the law of Moses. You're supposed to also take care of the stranger. You know what I'm saying? And part of taking care of the stranger means that you're going to have to take up debt that you might not necessarily want to procure yourself. And those are the things that turn people. Acts chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5. Look at how these people changed and why people gave their lives to Yah. Look at all the things that the Messiah did, and realize that most of those people didn't believe in him, and they still got healed. They still had demons cast out. And look at the when he left them and went to the other side of the ocean,